Auto sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, hello there. Welcome, my fellow one in a trillion, to another installment of Canned Conversation. My name is Andrew, and with me, as always, my good friend Steven.
Hello.
November has begun, my friend.
Yay.
We are in the final stretch. What are you most excited about in these last 2 months of the year?
It's hunting season.
So most excited about hunting.
Yeah, it's that time of year. Go outside, watch some sunrise, get outsmarted by a bunch of animals that have way smaller brains than us, and yeah, I love it.
But they're laser focused on one thing,
Yeah.
and that's staying alive.
Yeah. And I'm laser focused on 50 things, like looking at my phone, or are the decoys right and all that. Yeah. So
Coffee,
Yeah.
placement of the chair.
do I have this sunrise captured on my phone? Like all the things that you could think of.
Are my glasses reflecting the sun and making it so that I'm like hailing SOS?
Yeah. Am I flagging down planes with reflection?
And the
Yeah.
ducks are like, hey, what? Oh my gosh, I was going to land over there, but saw giant flashes of light as that
So, yeah. What
man
about
was
you?
getting his coffee.
What's your lovely last 2 months?
A lot of
looking forward
vacation time, which is nice. It's good and it's bad. I probably should have taken more vacation throughout the year. I'm
Every
very
year
bad
you
at
do
that.
this.
We do this, and then I look at it starting in November, and I go, oh my gosh.
I got to take 48,000 days.
All right. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take off the week of Thanksgiving plus a day. Then I'm going to be off the last 2.5 weeks of the year. And then I got to sprinkle 1 or 2 Fridays in there or Mondays. So I got that all sort of worked out,
Nice.
that algebraic equation.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to some off time, and some family time with
Good.
I like Thanksgiving. I like Christmas too, but I think Christmas has a little bit more, intense pressure
Yeah.
about stuff.
Agree.
Sometimes.
Agree.
So yeah, cool. All right. Well, let's get into it because I think we both need
Yes, please.
our first November can. As is our gimmick, one of us brings a new, unique, or rare canned beverage to try, and while we slurp upon its contents, we're going to do our very best to entertain you with our take on life's most interesting quandaries. Today is being about: should you play the lottery? Should you?
Yes.
Have you already won the lottery?
No. Oh, then yes.
Yes and yes. Later in the show, we'll come back and review the canned beverage and let you know if you should try it while waiting on hold with tech support, just to have them eventually come on and tell you to reboot.
Happened.
Really?
Happens frequently. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. I
It's
just
called
had
tier 1 support.
right. I just had a tech support conversation that it was pulling my hair out. I'm like, I work in IT. I've done all the basic stuff. There's something I'm missing. I just want to. It's like everybody should have a level. Like you should be able to say, I'm level 3.
Right. I don't. Yeah. I've already passed all your stupid tests. Just let's move on.
I've rebooted 5 times.
Yep.
Then I've done this. Then I've done
checked
this. Then I've done
gone to
this.
properties.
Yes.
I'm fully. Yeah. I'm on the next page of whatever
Right.
you're going to ask.
And then they're like, well, we're going to have to escalate you to the next tier. So you'll get a call sometime in the next 48 hours. We don't know when. You might be on the can. All right. Well,
Cool. What do we got?
hold on. Let's properly introduce.
That's what I mean.
It's like this first time
Let
we've
me-
done this.
Walk up music. What do we got?
As a matter of cosmic history, it has always been easier to destroy than to create.
You recognize that voice?
Yeah, but from what?
Yeah,
You tell me.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you.
Yeah.
I picked it out.
Oh, then you know.
Leonard Nimoy. What's he famous for?
Star Trek?
Yes, that was Spock. In Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
You're on your own on Star Trek stuff.
I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
But at one point, I went back and I watched them because it's like there's not a ton of seasons, right? Like, and I was like, I want to know what what some of the hype was all about. Like I've seen some when I was younger on repeats and stuff, but was never really into it, and watched a number of episodes, and it was all right. It was corny as it should have been, and it was kind of funny. But I did that once, and then I watched the movies kind of to finish it off, and it was interesting.
What do we got?
We have you're gonna laugh at this one. I have an IPA.
I saw those letters.
Right. And right.
What?
And I'm like, this is gonna be interesting. But I feel like in our journey of all of the cans that we try, we've always sort of had a bit of an IPA aversion.
Yep.
But there's been ones that we've taken a bit of a liking to, where we've rated a 3.
It could change my mind.
I bordered a 4, I think, on one of them, like that Unicorns versus Ninja. It was real good.
Yeah.
So this is from Sudwork Brewing. It's in, I guess, Davis, California.
Yeah.
What drew me to their cans was they had a number of cans on display at the haberdashery I went to. I don't think I used that right.
That's a hat store.
Is it?
Did you go to a hat store? Isn't the haberdashery a hat store?
That or like what Harry Potter goes to get his...
A wand store?
A wand or spells or something. I don't know. But maybe you also get this beer there. What drew me to it was the artwork of the cans. It was very bright, very colorful, and I'm like looking at each of the cans, and there were a couple of things that we've just recently tried, like some sours and some stuff. So I'm like, all right, and this one stuck out as a little different. Plus, it was pineapple, and I don't know that we've had a pineapple beer flavor with pineapple for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think our very first beer was pineapple.
One of the very first,
Right?
Yes,
It was a weird Germany
right.
style thing.
Hugenschwagen.
Right, yeah.
It's terrible that I was trying to remember the name
was-
in the store too. I'm like, what was that called? But it was really good.
Yeah.
And in fact, some of the people that we've had try it afterwards,
I still
really
see
like
it, and I'll pick up a 4-pack every once in a
Yeah.
while.
So this was another pineapple, and I'm like, okay, and it's called Suds Buds. It has a picture of a wild looking little dog on it, and apparently,
whose name is Bentley, right?
yes,
It's on his collar, which means that's probably one of their dogs.
Well, the little story, I'm not going to read
good.
the entire story, but the
Thank God.
story is on the can. It says, meet Bentley the Pug, and he's a Boston Terrier Pug mix. He's sitting in a hollowed out pineapple, and looking like he's having a really good time. Very, again, bright and colorful. It's 7% alcohol by volume. It calls itself a pineapple hazy Indian Pale Ale with Sutanya and NZL 60 hops. I mean, they are very specific on here.
It's the only kind of hops I drink.
This is why I thought, well, maybe this will be in one of those IPAs where, I mean, these people are so specific on their hops that it's like NZL 60. They're very particular, so their quality must be hopefully as good as their artwork.
You think specific equals quality. I love that.
Well, I mean, others that may be in this business might just go looking for whatever they can afford. And,
take some
as a
hops.
small business or
Yeah.
as a startup brewery, I completely understand that.
Yeah.
But then others who are like, the only way we're going to get anywhere in this game is if we, set ourselves apart with our quality. Do things like this, right? I want hops and I want NZL 60. Now, I could be saying this as if this is a thing and somebody out there goes, that means nothing.
Right.
Like all hops are NZL 60 if they're IPA. They got me if that's the case.
Yeah.
Right.
It worked.
Right.
Nice job, guys.
Yes.
So, all right.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a drink.
Yeah, that would be good. And then we'll get into it. But did you mention this was a pint? It's a big can?
Oh, no, I did not. It's a large can.
So it's 16 Florida ounces. Isn't that a pint?
16 Florida ounces. Is Florida ounces? I don't know if it's exact. Like it might be point something.
Okay.
Because a pint,
16.
you're doing conversion.
This is 16.9 Florida ounces.
Good.
I
Perfect.
think.
All right. All right. So I mentioned at the top of the intro here, we're going to talk about, have you won the lottery already? Or are you going to win the lottery? Because the lottery has been in the news.
Yep.
Powerball has grown to $1.5 billion, billion with a B. If you are listening to this in the general vicinity in which we recorded it, you're probably full up of lottery information of sorts because it's been all over.
Yeah.
It's such a zany amount. So your thoughts on the lottery, sir?
I think 2 ways. One is it's a stupid people tax because the odds of winning are so low, but I also play it as frequently as I can because someone has to win it. And it might as well be me.
Might as well.
So I'm Publisher Clearinghouse mottoing this one. Someone's going to win. It might as well be you kind of thing. And I'm like, I would hate to what I don't ever want to see is on the news, they go, this gas station here sold the winning ticket and it be the gas station I go
You always
to.
go
And I'm
to.
like, you got to be kidding me.
I may have been able to, like it would have been a lot at least closer to you.
Yeah.
Although the odds probably aren't any different.
No.
But so do you play when the Powerball or the Mega Millions or the quadrillions or the, any of those?
I like it better when it's not $1.5 billion. I like it when I want to win it when it's like 30 million.
Right.
And they go, here's your like
15
or $20 million. You want to take that? Yep. Nobody makes a fuss about it. No one knows who you are. Like I want that kind of winning because
Sure.
they're not going to give you a big check and make a big hoopla over the minimum amount of winning the Powerball.
Right,
They're
right.
going to make a big deal out of this 1.5 thing. They're going to get every ounce of press they can get out of it,
Sure.
which means you're going to be having people come out of the woodwork. for this.
Everybody in your town and in your family tree going back for
And every
second cousins, third cousins once removed, everybody's going to be
charity, everything knows who you are.
slide into your DMs.
Yeah, I'm not having it.
All right. Well, so you play more often than I do. I only jump in when it's making the news because I don't think about it normally, and I start to think about it when I start. Everyone starts talking about it. So which is now I've played the last 3 times because it was stupid big, the last 3 times, and of course lost, and on occasion didn't hit a number in the 5 tickets I purchased, and it just is a subtle reminder of like, I didn't hit one. What do these numbers go to? Because I don't keep track, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, but what I found fascinating. Now, I talked to a good friend of ours, whose name is Tim. And Tim, if you're listening,
Tim.
I'm giving you full credit for this one. I talked to him like years ago about the lottery, and he had a great outlook on it. And I think more people do this than just him and I. Now me taking the lead from him, but maybe they just don't see it the same way. But when you purchase a lottery ticket and the lottery has not been pulled yet, your ticket is a winning ticket. So your potential of winning is very much alive. Now you play a lot more than I do. So like for me, when I buy the ticket, it's a winning ticket. I start to go
you
home.
have $1.5 billion in your pocket for 3 days.
I start thinking about here are the things I could do.
Yeah. There's a chemical reaction that happens in your brain when you buy a ticket that you think can win $1.5 billion. Or $980 million or
Right.
$1.2 billion, whatever the last 3 have been for you, right? I think that was somewhere close.
Right.
I truly believe, and I'm sure there's science, whatever,
Right.
that says your brain goes, you've already won.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden dopamine starts flooding into you and you're like, well, good. So once I buy that island, then I'm going to have to get a boat. And then where do we want to go in Europe? Like you're already way out in front of your skis.
I'm already thinking about how to protect that piece of paper, actually, too. I'm like, should I put that between 2 pieces of glass and in the fireproof safe? Because as soon as I hit it and I win, I don't want anything happening to that piece of paper.
Yeah.
So
Like you put it in the fireproof safe, you drive to the lottery officials and you sleep in your car and wait for them to get to the door and you run in the front door and go, I've
Right.
got the ticket. Can you hold this?
yes.
Like
Yeah.
get it out of your possession.
All right, so I think that's a fun way it's a fun kind of experience to do that. And I'm sure, again, people that play like, you go into the gas station, the people that are the regulars that buy like every single time. They probably don't have that mindset, or maybe they do to a certain extent. Maybe that's why, maybe their dopamine is firing so much that's why they play so often, but who knows? But I thought that was kind of funny. So I don't want to spend this obviously entire hour talking about just the lottery in and of itself. But what I wanted to kind of focus on, or I thought would be fun, and hopefully it is for not only you, but others listening, is that whenever this starts to happen, you start to hear those things out there like your chances of winning the Powerball are less than this, right? So a few that you've probably heard, your chances of being struck by lightning are greater than winning the Powerball.
Yes.
Is it's 1 in 15,000. Hit by a meteor. I don't know who came up with this one, but you have a better chance of getting hit by an actual meteor
Then winning Powerball.
than winning Powerball at 1 in 1.6 million. Attacked by a shark, 1 in 2.7 million. And
How is that so high?
I know. Well,
How is sharks more than meteors?
right, because you would think you would hear on the news. You know, people they make a big deal when people get shark attacked, right? But I don't know that I've ever really heard a news story
Anyone
of
getting
like,
hit by a meteor
right.
ever.
Right. But you know, you could get hit by it and it could be like a size of a golf ball by the time it hit you.
But you would still think
Yeah, why is
someone
that?
would say that would make the news because
Agreed.
every shark attack makes the news.
Yes. Makes big headlines.
Okay.
You're
All right, keep going.
All right.
Sorry,
And
I just-
finally,
wow.
you have actually a better chance of being elected president. Somebody came up with this number 1 in 32 million, which seems
I don't know how that.
no, yeah. Oh, it is. Well, and I think it's because you have to, and you have to be
because
of
you're
age.
Of age.
And then, you start to factor in like, and it's even a little bit better odds if you're male than female, unfortunately. So
I was going to
hopefully
say,
that'll change.
I
but-
would guess they would do if you're male and if you're Christian and if you're like start segregating out
Yes.
population to
Yeah.
say this is the demographic that gets elected to
6
president.
foot tall, white male, 50.
Yeah.
So those are all terrible things. Right. And so that's sort of the negative. I wanted to take, I want to take the more positive approach and have some fun
Okay.
with, something that I don't know that we all necessarily think about. These are things that you went to the science center or wherever you're located. There's probably some place that you went on a field trip. And then they told you these crazy facts and you probably retained not all of it because there's some numbers involved.
Yeah.
But hopefully these are some fun facts to go. How have you already won because you've won the lottery of life?
So can we hold on for a second
Sure.
and go back while you take a quick drink and realize that you said, that's all the negative stuff. You included getting elected president as
Yes.
all the negative things?
Purposely.
Okay, great. I just said, okay, now we can.
Could you imagine that? It would be horrible.
It would be horrible.
That'd be
all
the worst job.
So now let's talk about the positive stuffs and how lucky we are.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Oh, and I did fail to mention about this Powerball thing. The thing that I learned that I thought was even crazier. So keep this number in your head, and you've probably heard this if you've heard any of this Powerball news, that the chances of winning Powerball, and it's probably different for the Mega Millions and all that other stuff, but at least for this one is 1 in 292 million.
Perfect.
Right?
So you're saying there's a chance.
292 million, which means that in order for someone to guaranteed to win, they would have to sell or have in play all 292 million variations
Of the ball combinations.
of the combinations. And what I didn't realize, but I just heard, was that in the last one, there was only mid 30% were in play. And that's with way more people buying.
Like only 30% of the balls were even.
About 35, I think. Somewhere around 35% of the combinations were even in play.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So 65% of the combinations weren't even available to win. And it got pulled the last 3 times,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's this big. So anyway, keep that 292 million figure.
Okay. 292.
Yeah. So the overall theme here, and I'm going to say it a few times, you have a better chance of winning the Powerball than you do of being born.
Well,
Right.
that's good news.
And you've already been born.
So I'm already lucky.
So you're already lucky and you're already in the elite.
What is my number for being born?
We're going to thank you.
Am I
Thank you for
jumping ahead?
serving. No,
Oh,
you
good.
served it up as if a platter, right?
292 is the number to beat.
292 million. And
Yep.
we're going to beat that in spades. All right. So the first part, and before we rate the can, we're going to talk about universe, galaxy, solar system, and a planet containing life.
Okay.
And then we're going to rate the can, and we're going to come back and talk about species parents and then how to get to you.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
All right.
So hopefully this doesn't bore the absolute socks out of you. Give me some sort of high sign or go move it, like press the gas a little bit if
Yeah.
it starts to bore you at
Okay.
all. But I'm going to try to keep this entertaining. I don't go into too much crazy. I've weeded out some of the more, I went through articles, right, of some of the trying to get to some figures here to just know how lucky you are of
Okay.
being alive. Because I wanted you to know.
I already consider myself lucky. But I would
I
love
want
for
you to know even more.
I want you to quantify
Yes.
it.
All right. So we live in a universe
Yeah.
that is made up of, and I almost tried to make this into a game, but these numbers are so astronomical.
I don't think I would win.
Right.
100% chance I would.
Well, I'm like, maybe I do a true or false. I don't know. It didn't quite kind of work out. But if you want to if you want to throw your hat into the ring on any of these numbers before I spit them out, feel free.
Okay.
In a universe is made up of galaxies,
Yeah.
our observable universe. We think there's an estimated number of galaxies that is 2 trillion.
Oh, I was going to go with 9.
9 trillion?
Nine galaxies.
9 galaxies. Yes.
So I was
yes.
a little off on that one.
Yes, you were a little bit off.
2 trillion galaxies inside of our universe.
Correct.
Okay, great.
2 trillion. We live in one of those galaxies. Do you know the name of that? That's a softball.
Is it the Milky Way?
It is the Milky Way, sir. Yes. We'll give you
Why didn't you say it was a candy bar? Because then I started thinking to myself, what's the name? The Rawlings? No, just kidding.
And you know what's funny is like when you know it inherently, but like when you're put on the spot.
Oh, you're like, oh, crap.
you're like, I do not want to look like that guy. This is gonna be recorded forever. All right. So the Milky Way, it is made up of stars, as is all of the 2 trillion galaxies
Right.
that are in our observable universe. And in the Milky Way galaxy, there are 200 billion stars.
It seems like a lot.
Seems like a lot. So this is what we had to have happen in order to get life on this here planet.
Okay.
Okay. So this rock that we live on
Yeah.
had to find itself just the right distance away from one of those 200 billion stars,
Which we lovingly call the sun.
which we lovingly call the sun. It has to be in terms of gravity and space between, right, for the perfect temperature to be in the right range. It's protected from the solar radiation because we have a magnetic field, which is unique in that we have a liquid hot magma core, and we're spinning. So when that happens, that creates that magnetic field. Not all rocks have that. We
Some
have
of them are
that.
just dense rocks that don't have an inside core.
Or they're all gas, right? The gaseous planets, or or they just are one big rock and they don't have that liquid hot magma.
Magma?
Yes.
Okay.
Or they don't rotate.
Right. All of the variables that could go
Right.
on. Yeah.
It's protected by the atmosphere,
Yeah.
right? And so, and then finally, it has to have all of the right chemical ingredients for life, which includes water and carbon, at least in our known scientific purview.
Our form of life.
Right.
Because
So-
the aliens may not need this.
It may not, but I think in another episode when we were talking about aliens, I don't know if this was specifically mentioned, but I did read an article where they were trying to prove that aliens could exist without water, and they could not. There was it's a very interesting article, and if I find it, maybe I'll put a link to it. Cool. But it was very interesting because like that was one thing scientists were like, hey, we put this like speedometer on life of water. Like everyone has to have it. Is that really needed? Turns out in every form of fashion that we can think of, it's needed.
Okay.
So that all took place.
Yep.
And came together 4 billion years ago.
Okay.
That's how old the earth is.
Right.
And we think in addition to that, we don't think we necessarily had water. Something with a lot of water hit us, like a comet or a meteor.
Yeah. I mean, it hit somebody.
Right.
Happens
So
more than you think.
it hit us, it melted, it became our oceans, and it gave us then the liquid that could breed life 400 million years ago.
Awesome.
So what do you think the odds are of all that happening to a planet amongst the 200 billion stars in a galaxy of 2 trillion galaxies?
So if you're assuming that, so I think it makes some assumptions in your question, which is that a planet like ours doesn't exist in any of the other galaxies, even though we haven't explored them. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that there, and keep in mind our some of our conversation on alien life. I believe that there's alien life on other planets. This has
like
occurred.
ours. Okay. But
And in
somewhere
fact,
else.
this is using the Drake equation. And you and I talked a little bit about this. I don't know if you
love
remember,
Drake.
right? The Drake equation of saying how can we sort of think about how many other planets out there have the conditions that I just spoke about.
Okay, so is the number that you're looking for a number that I would be familiar with? Like, if it's above billion, then it becomes gajillion.
No,
or
it's not that much.
quadrillion.
And again, this is why I didn't make it a game, but I left you kind of hanging out on the branch. Remember what Powerball was? 209. Oh,
One
sorry.
in 292.
292, correct. Million. So the odds of a planet
Existing like ours.
are 1 in 60 billion.
1 in 60 billion.
Right. So for every 60 billion rocks out there in the observable
there's another
universe,
one just like this.
There's one just like this, and it has life to a certain degree. We don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's
but
got
it
water
probably
and
has
the elements that could bear life.
Correct.
Okay, great. 1 in 60 billion?
1 in 60 billion.
Good. So you're saying there's a chance of that.
All right. So Earth, that's just Earth. That's Earth's odds of getting life,
being born.
Right. And that's great for Earth.
Yeah.
Right. So it had less odds than winning the Powerball.
And it won.
And it won. And
Right.
it got life.
Which is why I still buy
Although
Powerball tickets.
There are probably some people that would say it didn't win because, they're those kind of people.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to forget that.
Yeah.
Right. I love our species. And we don't always do the right thing and the good thing for Mother Earth, but I got faith in us.
But I'm glad we're here.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad you're here, man.
So-
glad you were born. So 1 in 60 billion.
Yep. So they won the Powerball.
They won the Powerball. Here's just a fun some side notes, and then we'll rate the beer. But these are just some fun galaxy stuff. As I was looking through this, and I thought you would find them hopefully fun and entertaining too. Because is there stuff that makes
space
your
stuff.
brain hurt when you're thinking about space? There are things that make my brain
Yeah.
hurt.
It's a hard concept to wrap your brain around. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So here's one that makes my brain hurt a little bit. Hopefully, we'll have a smidge of fun with this. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, give or take a billion. But that's what we try to kind of figure out. And then just this year, we saw or detected, because saw is sort of relative. It wasn't visual light. It was more like the red shifting stuff and the X-ray stuff. And
The weird crap they're doing off the satellites.
we found a galaxy that they're calling HD1. It exists 13.5 billion light years from Earth. And that broke the record for how far we could see something. Because most of the,
I can't even fathom what that looks like. Like how far away that is.
yeah, it's right.
I mean,
hurts your brain.
Yeah, it does.
But what we're intercepting from this, the redshift light and the X-ray type stuff, again, that stuff originated darn near the start
Of the
universe. Of the entire universe. Right. That
because it took it that long. To get here. So we could detect it.
Yes. Yes.
So we found the mothership.
It's
An
the
origin.
Right. It's one of the first galaxies, they think. The farthest object in space that you can see with only your eyes. Do you know? Have you ever heard that?
It's got to be Uranus.
So right.
Sorry.
It's
Keep
just-
going.
It's so prevalent. It can be detected, but it's usually not via. It's a smell. It's not light.
It can be detected. It's my favorite. I can't see it, but trust me, it can be
Right.
detected.
We know
Keep
Uranus
going.
is there.
Yeah. It's detectable.
With just your eyeballs, not a telescope or
Okay.
anything, you can see the Andromeda galaxy. And that's a spiral galaxy that's 2.5 million light years from Earth. So you can see
2.5 million light years from Earth. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a little hazy dot in the sky when you're looking at it with just your eyes. But that light is going into your eyeball straight away, not through anything else, like through a telescope, that originated 200 million light years away. It took 200 million years, and that light goes into your eye and goes away. It creates that image in your head. That's what light does, right? When it goes, but it doesn't come out. It stops. That light started
That
there.
light beam started way over there, came all the way in, jacked into your eye, back into the back part of your
terminated.
brain, and that was the end of that. That was its entire lifespan.
That was its lifespan. Isn't that crazy? That blows my mind.
That's weird. That's real weird to think about.
Yeah, and what was happening 290 million years ago? That's when it started. So you're looking into the past, essentially. I know that's kind of like what people call somewhat time travel. Is you can theoretically you can see things because light is you're seeing something
That has traveled through time.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's that old. And then the farthest star we can see with our naked eye is called V762 Cas. It's in the Cassiopeia constellation. That is 16,000 approximately light years away. So that, again, is just with your naked eye. And with the Hubble and then the new one, I always forget its name.
I do too.
As soon as it becomes as popular as the Hubble, I'll remember. But it's amazing some of the stuff that's coming out
They
of
can see
that
some
one.
crazy crap out. At least they're making up some great pictures. I don't know where they're from, but
Yeah.
so how many was that? 16,000?
16,000 light years away. That's what you see with your naked eye.
And it's just a star.
And it's just a star. And it has probably some planets floating
Right,
around it.
just like our sun.
And it has a 1 in 60 billion chance of having
an
another Earth. But I don't think that they
would probably know that one by now.
that
since I
one
can
that
see
one
a
is
star
pretty
from the
close.
naked eye.
Right. It's probably more likely that something in Andromeda might have life. But all right. So hopefully, so that we've gone universe, galaxy, solar system, planet with life is 1 in 60 billion. We've already beat those odds. We're a planet with those. We've won the lottery.
Yeah,
there.
we won the planet universal lottery.
Yes.
Powerball.
Powerball.
Nice.
All right. So
Are we going to rate a beer?
yeah, we're gonna rate a beer. Time seems to have flown by.
Yeah.
At least in because this stuff makes my head like giddy, and so time flies when you're having fun. But it's time to talk about the
Sudbud?
Suds Buds Pineapple
Suds
IPA.
Buds.
So this is really good. It's not over, and maybe the pineapple is what helps, right? Because like we said, we've had a pineapple in a beer, and I like pineapple. It gives it a little bit of hint of something that I think might cancel out some of what we normally
Some of
think
the
is the bitter, or it's playing together well. That's not all I'm getting is the bitter. So this tastes like a good, solid beer. Like it's not heavy.
No.
It's
It's got a lot of flavor, though.
it's got a lot of flavor for
give
not
it that.
being heavy,
It's an IPA flavor.
and it's not overly pineapple, in my opinion. Which we said about the last one too. So these people putting pineapple in beers, you're doing a good job,
Right.
And that you're not, just
You're
dumping it.
rationing your pineapple.
Yes.
That's funny. So
So I think
you
this
at
is
with
a solid 3 for sure. Yeah.
all right, I am so I wish there was more pineapple in this. I would take a little bit more to cut a little bit of the IPA out of it. Because I'm not a big IPA fan. I'm sure IPA people were like, "That's too much pineapple."
That's right. You're killing the IPA.
Yeah, let me just suck on a
Right.
piece of hops or something. But it is a weak 3 for me. But it's actually really decent to drink. It's pretty smooth. It goes down well. I'd probably drink more. There's a little bit of that bitter on the end of it. I wish there was just a tiny bit more pineapple.
I feel that I noticed that bitter.
Yep.
And what I like about it is that it's not overly noticeable though. It's just kind of there. And maybe that's where our palates are in the immature land, where
is.
these other people are like, man,
Yeah.
the hoppier the better,
Sommelier
the
in
bitter
it.
the better.
You
Right.
smell it and you whoosh it around or whatever your nonsense you're doing. But IPAs to me taste like you're eating a piece of hops, like you just chew it
Right.
up. Like it's real hoppy. This isn't as bad, so I kind of like it a little better. Probably drink a bunch, maybe not a bunch, but I drink a couple. I drink a few.
Sure.
I put it in. I'm not gonna turn it down if it's at a bar or something.
There you go.
So
So
we're both at
threes all around, and that's a solid score.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, it's probably worth noting. I will say it's kind of, I think we should give ourselves a little bit of a pat on the back. We had Zing Zang contacted us after we put out the episode where we had their bourbon sour. And it was kind of funny. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And they were like, how did you like it? Yeah. And I gave them the star. You read it.
Yep.
And they kind of seemed stoked.
Yeah,
I
was cool.
thought I might say, well, Stephen gave it a 3. I gave it a 4. They might see 3 and 4 and go, well, it's not your 5. But they were stoked about it.
Yeah,
And,
and I mean, you told them like this is stuff we'll drink.
Right.
4 is something I'm going to go proactively look for. 5 is something I'm pushing on friends when they come over. Right. So
Right.
when you put the context around it, really decent. We're just not giving out 5s to everything. Right. I mean,
Right.
like it
Yes.
has to be something really, really special.
Right.
And I, for us, we have a unique, some would say immature taste, maybe, I don't know. So, I'm not a big bourbon fan. So anything
Right.
with bourbon in it, I'm probably not ranking in 4s and 5s. don't like the flavor of bourbon, and we're not big IPA fans. So things that are threes that are IPAs is really good for us. We're like, that's a damn good IPA because it's usually going to be a 2 or a 1. I'm not going to finish it if it's a really hoppy IPA. I'm like, that's trash. It's not trash to somebody. I'm certain of it, but still, you get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought it was fun. We've been contacted a few times by people that we've rated.
Love it.
But I think that these are probably the bigger. I mean, Zing Zang's everywhere.
Yeah.
It threw me for a loop when I saw them reach out and message.
I thought it was great. And
Yeah.
There's somebody who's proactive on their social media.
Right,
And like
right.
those are the people that, we tag people in it. All the beers that we do or all the cans that we do. And
Most of us don't say anything.
most of them just,
We tag Troy Aikman when we tag his beer. He never responded.
he never said a word.
No,
Because he
no.
knows that beer's not
He probably listened to the podcast first and was like, oh, okay, no, I'm not responding.
Yeah. He's going to have to retitle that beer and just put beer on the front. Anyway, that was horrible.
All right, so we're good to go here. Let's talk about the species, parents, and you.
Okay.
When we're talking about the
1 in
lottery
60 billion
of life.
so far.
Yes. So we are Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
If you remember.
I do.
Okay. I didn't want to throw you that one.
No,
okay.
I got that one.
What are our species? We are Homo sapiens. The first, what we would sort of classify as intelligent life. But from a zoological standpoint, they don't put intelligence in there. We're in the hominid tribe or
Tribe?
well, they
There
actually
should be
put
like a
tribe.
really? That's the classification down as tribe?
Tribe is
What?
it is.
No.
I mean, I did. I looked it up. I was like, man, that
Okay.
sounds a little weird.
You do your
There should
research.
be more
I
of a
don't, so yeah,
science
that's
term.
fine.
But of
So we're
the
hominids.
the upright walking, we're bipedalism.
Yeah, we're bipedal.
Bipedal, but in a stride-like motion. There are other
Bipedal things that don't stride?
No, they tend to hop or waddle
Oh, like a penguin?
like a penguin.
All right. Great.
And we're mammals, obviously, and we live on the ground. So all of those things add up to Homo sapiens. We're the only remaining species of the hominin. And we had something a bit to do with that. We helped get rid of a few.
Oh, yeah. We killed everything else.
Which I don't think people really sometimes understand.
That there was multiple versions of humans living at the
Yes.
same, or like what we would consider early human living at the
Right.
same time, and they killed each other.
Right. Well, yes, they definitely, they weren't necessarily always pleasant towards each other. Right. And then sometimes they did what people,
Crossbreeding?
humans do, where we go, you go in, you crossbreed, and you essentially, do that. So other species you probably heard of, Neanderthals,
Yeah.
they actually kind of came after Homo sapiens, but then we make sure to take care of that and
Fixed it.
right. And we crossbred with them a bit, and then also took some of their stuff, and they
And then
went
killed
extinct.
them off. Great.
Homo erectus,
Yeah.
and because everyone should know that one, because when you're in high school and you're at one of those, school outings, you laugh at that, right? Like,
Yeah.
you only perk up when you hear erectus.
Homo erectus.
So, and just as a side note, and I think our listeners are probably smarter than this, but I still hear like, oh, we evolved from apes. It's something like people just, if you believe in Darwinism, you believe we evolved from apes. No, that's not right. We didn't evolve from apes. Apes are a separate species, and they've evolved throughout time on their own. We do share common ancestry with them millions of years ago. We did not evolve from apes, but they are close relatives if you go, again, outside of the hominin, hominin, because they're not bipedal. They walk with their hands a lot. The first species of hominin are known to have existed as far back as 6 million years ago.
Dang.
Yeah, right. And I was just
It's a long time ago.
Do you have this problem when you have conversations and then you forget who you had them with?
Yes.
and then you find out information and you're like, who am I supposed to tell that to?
Who do I need to refresh with?
And now I add this show to it because I want to say, and I may be wrong, but I want to say we were having a conversation about life on Earth, and we were trying to figure out about how far back, humans and the species
And I'm pretty sure we were at
going
like
on.
10,000 BC.
You're
Weren't we?
right. Yes, and we were way off.
Because you're saying it's like 6 million.
Well, that's when the first hominin,
right,
but
which is a humanish looking thing.
It's the first-
walks on strides with
Yes.
2 feet.
yes,
Mammal.
So Homo sapiens first came into in the Africa, right, in that that region, that the Fertile Crescent, right,
Yep.
315,000 years ago.
Okay, so earlier than 10,000 BC.
Yes, way earlier. And if we said 10,000, yeah, that we must have meant just like starting to write things down.
Yeah.
Because it took forever.
When it counts.
Yeah.
It doesn't count unless you write it down.
But
Which
here's
is what
some
I've always said.
here's some crazy facts for you. Beer. The first alcoholic beverage was in 7,000 BC in
Yeah.
China. The first barley beer was 3,500 BC. So we were kind of thinking, I think, in terms of beer.
Yeah,
Right.
agree. And that's fitting. Like we
Right.
start our show like topics based on when beer started.
Yeah.
So anything before really 10,000 BC was not really relevant anyway to beer.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
agree.
let me ask you this. Now, this is a fun question. What came first, the first alcoholic beverage or the invention of the wheel?
Alcohol.
Alcohol did. Very
Yes.
good. Woohoo.
People are stupid.
The wheel was first invented and started to be used in Mesopotamia around 4200 BC. So we were drinking, getting drunk.
Prior to knowing how to use a wheel.
Wheel it around. Exactly.
Probably only invented the wheel to figure out how to get large quantities
your
of
friend's
alcohol
house.
to your friend's house.
Exactly.
You can't throw a Rager if you can only bring 3 cans of something.
All right, we're going to watch
By
a
cans, I
game
know
of
there
that.
weren't cans back there, but still.
All right, throw rocks at each other game. I got to go over there, and my buddy, it's bring your own beer.
Right. So he's like, I can't keep dragging this
Yeah.
this rock sled full of beer over.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. So now, do you remember Lucy? You ever heard of Lucy? This is just a fun fact for you on the
Like-
side. When is it? They
Honeymooners?
they dug up some fossils and they called one of them
I
Lucy.
was like, either you're selling loose cigarettes, you're talking about the honeymooners, but yeah. So there's
So just to put things into perspective, because again, I said like Homo sapiens came around about 315,000 years ago.
Yep.
Well, Lucy was a specimen of another type of hominin.
Okay.
It's really hard to pronounce. I'm not even gonna. It's very long.
What's the letter it starts with?
It starts like with Australia, but it's Australopithecus afarensis.
That's what I thought it was.
In Ethiopia, and they dated Lucy back to about 3.2 million years ago.
Good Lord.
So human ancestry goes back way far.
Okay.
All right. So, and then Homo erectus, who I mentioned earlier, they were 1.5 million years ago. They were the ones that harnessed the power of fire. Oh. So humans,
We owe that to them.
yes, human species variation was using fire 1.5 million years ago, but not a wheel until 4,500 BC. Really, I thought the wheel went back so much farther.
Yeah.
You picture the cavemen.
Yeah, there's
right,
all
in
the cartoons.
right, chipping away at the.
And there's a person with a
Right.
square wheel, and they're like, can you try this? And they're like, we
Right.
don't have time. We're working too hard. And there's a guy chipping like a circle wheel.
That's so
That's
great.
dumb.
And so no, we were using fire well
Before a
in advance,
wheel.
way before, and used it for a million plus years.
I mean, fire is an interesting concept. A wheel is basically just a round rock that you see roll down a hill and you go, wow, that went fast. I bet you we could use something similar round like that to use as a wheel. Right? Like
and there
that's
may
not
be a one person that did, but they don't get credit, right? Because it didn't take off like it did in Mesopotamia.
because fire takes work, but like there's a lot of round things
Yeah, right.
that roll.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
agreed. But just think about that. Like
That's weird.
People are human-like species.
We're around 1.5
We're
million.
using fire for a million plus years before we started to, toast our toast. I mean, it's been a long time. All right. So, and you haven't hit the gas on me that you're bored with these facts. So that's good. So let's jump to for the past 300,000 years.
Okay.
People have been paving the way. So, it took a long time for us to get to sort of
300,000 years.
Right.
Okay.
So that's when that's kind of when we started to ramp up our abilities technologically speaking. There was like these ages like the Bronze Age
Yeah.
and the Stone Age, like
We started
using
doing
lots of
tools and things like
tools
that.
and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of that's brought. I'm not going to get into all that, but what I'll say is, so let's put that into a time frame of from 300,000 years ago till now. We have come so far as to be able, from fire to our microwave ovens or meal delivery, that we can be fed anything that we want in less than 1 hour, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You can travel anywhere in a day, theoretically.
Yeah. Under 24 hours. you
Most
can make it
places,
anywhere.
right? You can a direct flight. You can fly anywhere within 24 hours. Australia, I think, is on the other side.
Can you make a direct flight without stopping for gas somewhere?
I don't know from here.
But you can still get to Australia
Yes.
in under 24.
Yes, and that's amazing to me. We've gone from smoke signals and beating on drums and making caw noises for communication to we
Like, you know,
can
for the Battle Hawks.
we can instantly communicate now with anywhere, anytime,
Any person,
in the
anywhere in the
world, in an instant. Right, you can see the bubble while they're typing, right? Like the little dot, that's coming up, and you're like,
I can see
Can
what
you
they're
please
doing
just send? Can
while
you
they're
can you send that? Could
Yeah.
you imagine the thought process of a person in the hominin group a
Being able
million
to
years
communicate
ago
with a tribe
and
somewhere
they,
else.
They just know fire can now cook their food. And you're going, can you please hurry up with sending that?
Yeah,
Like
please
that
make the
bubble
dots
is-
go away.
That bubble's been on there for too long. And my favorite thing I came up with just, in thinking about this, I'm like, caffeine, which is the natural insecticide of a particular plant. We have harnessed that power so that we can formulate it, shove it in mass quantities into a drink that you can then pound into your system to keep you awake for days on end to play video games while Amazon brings you things to your door within 2 days from really anywhere.
Literally, I ordered something because my daughter was talking about it, and I didn't even pay attention to when I was going to get it. It came within 3 hours. And they go, there's a package on your door. I go, you got to be kidding.
Same day delivery.
3 hours.
Right.
It was, I'm like, they must have been sitting in my neighborhood waiting for me to buy that. How did they know? It was random stuff. Anyway, yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
Someone in this neighborhood really wants
Really needs
this.
some. It's a drink packet, like to pour into your water to give you, I don't know, re-energize you or something.
Caffeine?
No. Electrolytes.
Okay.
Sorry, that's the word I was looking
yeah,
for.
that's
So
what
it's like
makes plants
electrolyte
grow.
drinks. And yeah, I'm like, so I sent a picture. I'm like, I just got this thing in 3 hours. My daughter's like, you gotta be kidding. That's the age we live in, where I'm like,
Yes.
I think
why-
of it, then I order it, and then it comes to my house. Done.
And that amazement right there is what I equate to the lottery, right? You've won the lottery in life when you can have anything you want to eat within an hour. I mean, anything. When you can order goods from anywhere almost and have it within 2 days max, and you can potentially have it within 4 hours. And you can communicate with anyone on this planet instantly. That is, to me, amazing. So that is winning the lottery. Now, you have to be here for that to happen.
Okay.
What is the probability of you being born? You,
Mine specifically, mine's got to be pretty low. I'm adopted. So, like, I don't, wasn't a planned pregnancy to begin with.
right?
So I think that makes it lower. Maybe it doesn't. But it's got to be. Are you looking for 1 in 100 trillion?
right. You're like, I don't even know where to start.
I don't even know what the right
So let me start
round
here.
number is.
What's the I'm not going to ask a question. I'm just going to tell you. The probability of your parents meeting,
Oh, it's got to be like ridiculous.
1 in 200 million.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just them meeting.
Right.
Right. And now you have to layer upon that the probability of those two people commingling to the extent that they're going to have unprotected sex.
Right. So that's what's the odds of that?
They don't even know. Like, so it's larger than 102. I couldn't find a good number for that.
But it's larger than one.
So
in
let's
one-
double it
Okay.
to say, because maybe that guy is real, like your father was really like, I met this girl.
He's really
I'm
got
super
game.
into her.
Yeah.
So we'll call that maybe 1 in 400 million. Now they're commingling and they're to an extent that they're going to have sex. And now you have to do the fusion of one particular egg
At a very specific time in a gestational period, or like a cycle, right?
and one particular sperm, because any other variation of
Would
that,
not have
an egg
produced
and a
me.
sperm would not be you.
well, and there's a lot of sperm competing,
Yes.
like millions of sperm competing.
Yes. I believe I read that somewhere that the average male will produce 1 trillion sperm in their lifetime.
Wow. Well, you don't get a lifetime of sperm at once, right?
Yeah, and
So-
you don't use it all.
Right. So you kind of parse that out over the course of 40 or 50
Right.
years. So,
Because, and not to just be funny about it, but like when you're 60 and say you're married, your wife has probably gone through menopause. So like there's that factor into the math, is that there's only so much sperm in a window
oh, gotcha.
that you can actually use for
So it doesn't matter if you make
procreation.
700 billion, trillion, gajillion sperm. There is a small window of opportunity when you're in the right age span.
Yes.
Unless
that
you're
will likely be
a celebrity where you're 85 and you have a 25-year-old girlfriend.
exactly. Yeah. Or you've frozen it.
yeah.
Something like that. Anyway,
sorry, go back.
so 1 egg, 1 sperm
Perfect combination that makes me
of your parents who were 1 in
Yep.
200 million of meeting, and
1
then
in 400 million of having sex, just for
Yes.
round numbers.
the estimated probability of your being born is about 1 in 4 trillion.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I feel pretty lucky.
Yes. Now, remember, that's 400 trillion. You had a 1 in 400
400
trillion shot.
Oh, I thought you said 4 trillion.
No, 400.
That seems really out of whack. I'm going to question the math there. I'm just kidding. I believe you. 100.
Well, because you got,
1 in
in
400
fact, it
trillion.
could be higher than that's if you just go up to your parents' level. Some of the
Because
things I
you
was
can Google
reading
back
was
and
like your
say-
grandparents have
Right.
to have been born
Right.
correctly, or you wouldn't be you.
And it's that
And
same.
then-
It's that same.
Yeah.
Equation all the way back.
Right.
To say that perfect combination created this person.
Right.
That perfect combination created
Yes.
this person.
Right.
That person, and then there you are.
All you needed was for your grandma to go, "Not tonight, honey,"
Yep. And you're not there.
and you're not there. So I think that's being a little bit generous. In what I've read was like,
Yeah.
generously speaking, your probability of being born was 1 in 400 trillion, because there's life on Earth that evolved 1 in 60. What did I say? Billion.
yeah. 160 billion.
On this Earth, and then you made it 400 million years of Earth time, like to now. The numbers
to
all
hit the weird random
Yeah.
lottery of the intersection of
right, because
1 in 400
and I say
trillion.
that because like I go back to saying you can buy anything now in this time, and it because you might not consider yourself the winner of the lottery of life if you were born as a Homo erectus.
Right.
Without fire before, and with that, and
Right.
you're just, and
You're
you're all
just
you're
a cold,
doing is
naked,
Right.
Like
trying to stay out of the
Neanderthal
rain.
running around,
Yeah, right.
Going, this sucks.
But to be now, right? Like
Right.
just put all those numbers together. That is way better than your one. You've won.
yeah,
You've won. And it's more outlandish, right? You have beat the odds so much so better than beating the odds of Powerball, which is only 1 in 292 million.
right. Which is why I still play, because I've got a way better chance of that.
And yeah, and so part of what I wanted to say was, number one, you've already won the lottery of life, right? So keep that in perspective. I think a lot of our listeners probably already do, but when something comes up on your social media feed that you don't really agree with, just let it go, right? I mean, you've won the lottery of life. There's no reason to get mad at
Yeah.
that.
There is a
You're alive. They're alive.
yeah,
Just celebrate aliveness.
yeah. There's a good chance you couldn't have been here for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. A multitude of generational reasons, not to mention universal reasons, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that have had to come into play to make you be at this place in your life. You should be thankful for that, I think, is your message, right?
It is. Well, yeah, and I'm not trying to pound that as my only message, but I do think that's a personal belief of mine. I really resonated one time it's a spiritual thing, not necessarily a religious thing when I say miracle here, but I'm like, there are people that look at everything as a miracle or look at nothing as a miracle. And I'm solely in the camp of, I look at everything as a miracle. The fact that we are on this earth, the fact that earth exists the fact that our universe exists, it's just mind-boggling. I get sucked into these vortexes on YouTube about these space things, and my brain goes into, I don't know how Earth is here. I mean, it's
weird,
and that life exists on it.
Holy crap!
and that I'm born in a day and age that I can, make this podcast, have beers with you, send my kids to school and not worry about them.
The odds of you
feeding
and
them.
The odds of you and I having a podcast and meeting each other at
6
at work,
quadrillion to 1.
Yeah, right. I mean, like it's a good bajillions ago. Whatever the next word is up, it's got to be.
Yeah,
because it was pretty random too, right? Like the way that we all met and ended up intersecting our lives, and very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we won the lottery, but I don't feel richer, but I still I feel lucky, I guess. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And enjoy the lottery. Enjoy it for what it's worth. And when you buy the lottery ticket, have fun knowing that you're the winning ticket probably until you're not, until they say, oh no, the numbers were not that. And then you go, oh, well, I guess I have to come back down into reality.
Yeah.
I have to stop spending all that yacht money. I was going to buy a yacht.
We had an island picked out yesterday. Literally had an island.
For real life.
A for real life for sale island, $35 million
Nice.
in the Bahamas.
Oh, boom.
It's got a
Done.
dock
Yeah.
that holds 4 boats. It's got a pool. It's got 2 houses
brilliant.
on it. It is a legit place that I'm like, that seems reasonable now.
Yes, of course. Because
So we'll
that's
have
chump
that
change.
Yeah, because we'll have that by Christmas.
Yes.
And that's where I'm going to spend Christmas. And I'm like, I didn't win. Well, okay. Well, there's still Saturday. So,
What would your first call be?
I don't know.
Would you call? How would you handle it? I mean, we got a few minutes here, like to have fun with this before we close her down. But like, how would you handle? How do you? First of all, let me ask you this question: how do you know whether you've won or not? Do you watch the actual numbers being drawn, or do you just
I have it
wait
on my
for
phone. So I just
Okay.
I look it up when I know it's past 10 o'clock
Okay.
on my phone, and I'll go check.
Okay.
Or watch the news, and it'll tell me because it's on
Right.
the freaking news because it's such a big deal right now. So my brain tells me that I should shut my trap for a couple days.
True.
And line up a lawyer,
Right.
an accountant, and have all my ducks
Security
in a row.
guard.
Yeah, before I do anything. My heart tells me I would start calling people and be like, I am freaking filthy rich. We are about to have a throwdown, right?
You
Like
just post on Instagram just a picture of your, of yourself, and I just won.
I think there are certain people that I
Powerball.
would not be able to contain knowing and not telling. and I thought about this.
Your wife being one of them.
Yeah, like she's in. She has to know because I don't keep secrets well.
Nice.
So I'm sure she would be like, "There's no way I could keep that." But there are other people that I would go, I'm gonna have to tell you, and I'll kill you if you say anything. I need 3 days. I need 3 days to get my stuff in order. But like, just know good things are coming.
Where
right?
am I in that? I'll tell you where you're at. Your day of I win. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So there's a small circle, and I bet it's
Okay.
got probably 8 people in it, and you are one.
Right on.
Not to mention you're already on my
Right.
my trust and stuff, right? So like
that was the same thing I was
right, so
thinking.
like well,
because
if you have that kind of level of
right.
in, you probably should know.
You're partly executor, depending on circumstances.
Right.
So if something happens,
Yeah.
like you got to know how to deal with all of this.
So there's
filthy
probably
rich.
8 people that I would just go, hey, take some time off work if it's going to be a problem to keep a secret. Just come to my house. I don't care if you camp out for the days,
Right.
but we're gonna go have a good time soon. You same. You'd have a small circle.
Yes, for sure. It would probably be like 4. My mom and dad, I count as 1. And then you, probably my sister, just to go, hey, because good things will come all their ways.
Right.
Like I'm going to spread some of that, obviously,
Yeah.
some of that wealth
yeah.
around. And so, it'll just be like, guys, some stress relief automatically. Don't tell anyone. And you guys will all have some piece of the pie. We'll figure it out. Tax.
Right.
Purposeful.
What doesn't kill you in taxes?
Right.
It'll be fine.
So yeah. And then like you, I think I would be scouting out a place, and then I would go to, and then the other crazy, silly things in my head. I'm like, I would just go to a bar and start having drinks and whip out my credit card and go, everyone's drinks on me for tonight are on me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. And I would say, don't tell anybody who bought this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost
for
like
sure.
just go
Right.
in and go, I just need to have I needed some of this.
Yes.
Like I need a little bit of celebration, like
Yes.
self-celebration.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I want other people around me to be as happy,
Yeah,
to be
I want
happy.
people to be jacked up about
Right,
this.
and I want to see people like get happy when someone comes over and goes, all your drinks are tonight are taken care of. Don't ask any questions. Just drink whatever you want. It's all taken care of, and your food.
Yep.
And they go, holy cow, that's awesome. And then you're like, yeah, this is great. I mean, spread some joy.
Spread some joy.
Yeah.
And there's always, like, I always say this, and there's a $35 million island. We're going to go buy that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
duh. Like, it is not, you win $700 million or whatever the split is on that thing.
Right.
There is plenty of money that needs to be divided out and given to some charities.
Oh, that'll happen.
Like 100, like my wife's like, I want to build tiny homes for homeless vets.
Right,
and I'm
right.
like, great.
Yeah,
We'll build
we're
some
gonna-
tiny homes.
that'll happen.
I'm on board with that.
Yes.
But there is a part of me that goes, I'm gonna go get ignorant for a hot minute,
24 hours.
Yeah, give me some ignorant time,
Right.
And then I'm gonna have some 100% take care of some family time and just
Oh,
go.
yeah.
What do you need to not be stressed out in your life? Whatever that is, we're gonna go fix that.
Yeah.
And then it's.
Right.
I'm gonna go buy my damn island, and I'm gonna get on a fishing boat and go there. We're gonna have some parties.
Yeah, I agree. You, I mean, I think it would be almost your full-time job for the next, let's call it 3 months.
Yeah.
Just to figure everything.
Oh,
just
yeah.
to figure out
Yeah.
what your life is going to look like.
Yeah.
After
Agreed.
those 3 months, and to take care of certain people, like
Figure out how the income's gonna happen. Figure out what the tax implications are. Figure out all the how you're gonna take care of.
figure out the right charities that you want to give
Yep.
to, and
how you want to do it.
yeah.
Yep. Agree.
So, like, yeah, you would have to quit your job.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a given.
7 seconds after that winning number comes out, I'm typing the email.
But I feel like it's still like your new job would be how
being 100 millionaire, 700 millionaire. That's my new job.
that's my new job, and it's gonna take it's gonna take
be
some brain
stressful.
cells.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get an assistant.
Oh yeah, and it's got to be all people you absolutely
100%.
trust, right?
There's a
'Cause
small circle.
You don't want to be Rocky IV, or I think it was
MC Hammer. There's
Yeah,
all kinds of
right.
actual people that like
right.
blow
Or their
all
money
their money.
managers then and steal it,
Yeah.
right? And go, hey, yeah, you didn't know what you were doing, so I took it all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, good.
All right, so let's recap what we did today. We told you that you've already won the lottery of life, so you should be happy. Go celebrate it, Donkey Head. We've had a beer that is from Sud Work called Sud's Buds Pineapple IPA. We both gave it a 3
Yep.
and enjoyed it. And that's basically all we did for this hour. And
That is
and
really
so-
all it
and
was.
then and really had a chance in front of you to tell you how we would spend $700 million in the first 24 hours, or at least what we do immediately, because we've both. I found out we've both already bought lottery tickets for this 1.5 million thing. So we've won, and so we're just celebrating our winnings until
With you.
we're told we're losers.
Yeah.
Which will be
And when this
Saturday night.
Yeah, and when this podcast comes to you live from the Bahamas in 4 weeks, you'll know we won. That's how you'll know.
I love it. Thanks you.
Thanks, you.
All right, so I'm assuming that you're on your way now to the nearest store to buy lottery tickets. We expect half. Thank you. Bye.